Good morning, Stampers. This is Jenny Day, back with another video. Really nice tip on how to make your own DSP paper. If you happen to run out, then this is the technique for you. And we'll also show you how to make a couple of cards and ideas from this DSP in a little while. So what we're going to need first is a piece of 12 by 12 very vanilla paper, and we're going to use kind of a lot of stamp pads, but it'll be worth it in the end, and a few stamp sets. We've got the postcard stamp, Papillion Potpourri, Flowering Flourishes, and the Postage Due stamp sets. So let's get started. First, in the crumb cake, I'm going to ink up the postage card stamp, and I'm going to just stamp that randomly all on the paper. Just here and there. I just wanted to show you the whole process to show you how easy and fast it actually goes. So let's try to get it down at the bottom. Okay, we're done with that already. The next step is to use the collage stamp from the Postage Due, and we're going to use baked brown sugar. So let's ink that up. Get that and kind of fill in some spaces that you already see, big spaces here, and kind of turn it back and forth, and you'll get the collage look on a big piece of paper. And let's do here. And yeah, that's good. You can always go back and add more if you need to. So the next step, what we're going to do, we're going to use the butterfly stamp and the potpourri stamp, and we're going to do the pear pizzazz. Add a little bit of vintage green and find some empty little spaces, go off the paper, have fun. If you just sat for a little while and made a bunch of papers up, and then I'll show you which size to cut them in, and you can put them in a little card file, you will always have a go-to design that's going to be completely different from itself. I think we need to add one more up there. Okay, so we're done with that. Now let's add the number 2 stamp in Blushing Bride. Give it a little bit of a vintage rose feel to the paper. And there's no right or wrong way to do this, but it's one thing I can tell you is very fun. Kind of therapeutic in a way. Okay, we're just going to keep going, because you want, when you cut it, you want a little piece of every design in every little piece you're going to cut. Let's go up in the corner. Okay, there's your 2. Now this one really pops, makes the color pop. The Rich Razzleberry in the Paris stamp, we're going to just do the same thing. See how every stamp you put on here adds just the right amount. It doesn't add too much, I've noticed. I like to get the corners. Let's see. That corner and up here. Okay, really nice. Then we're going to take the soft suede, go around the edges quickly and antique it. And by doing this, just showing you, you're going to see how fast you just made a piece of paper. I think it's only been a couple of minutes. I mean, Rachel Ray can make a wonderful meal in 30 minutes. Heck, we can make an awesome piece of DSP in just 2 minutes. And our card won't take that long either. Now, one thing we don't want to forget, I mean, this is back to kindergarten where you can't really do this wrong. You just have fun, get rough with the paper. No sense being perfect, because we're not perfect. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to use our Stampin' Spritzer. We can't forget that, especially when we're doing vintage paper. So you just screw your pen right in there. And I found that if you squeeze hard and go up high, you're going to have much more even splatters. And that's exactly what I'm getting out of this now. I'll show you the end product when I'm all done. then you're not going to have just big blobs. You're going to have consistent designs. And I'm getting my workout for the day. Okay, so let's put the cap back on that. And here is what it looks like. So you have consistent splotches, you have sponging, and if you want to, oh, see how this is missing something? Well, I found that if you use a flower in there, the flowering flourishes, and we're going to use the Blushing Bride. Notice how this paper comes alive when you just do this one design. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. It's kind of everywhere. It's just beautiful. Looks like you bought it in the store. And I'm not kidding, it probably just took 2 minutes to make. That is it. So here's another, it's very similar. But I'm going to tell you a little tip that's very handy. If you take the time to cut with your cutters pieces of this cardstock 2.5 by 4, you're going to get a lot of pieces out of that one piece of DSP. Then what you do is you put them in your card file. Just grab one, and every time you want to make a card, no two are alike. So you've got all the colors in there. You can make the cards that I have an example of here. You have the plum that you can use for a background. So just to deconstruct this card here, just want to show you. Really easy. You take a piece of pink pirouette cardstock, run it through the tulip border on your Big Shot, ink it around the edges a little bit, give it that look. Use a piece of the plum to mat. This, any one will do. And then just take a piece of the sheer pink ribbon. It could be white or vanilla. You glue it right on, so simple, and glue it right onto your card base. And you use the number 2 and the Paris stamp, because they're already inked in those colors. Use your punch those out, put a little rhinestone on each one, and your card is done. And here's another example of a card that looks completely different. See how you have the postage stamps? I used a postage stamp and a butterfly. Just a rhinestone, but a different embossing background. So you're going to get different looks, and you're going to have a lot of fun making this DSP. Here's another example. I made newspaper. You can make the, we're always running out of newspaper print. You take your large word stamp and stamp it 6 times on a piece of Very Vanilla. And I mentioned you can also put a little greeting in there. So I took that old-fashioned thank you there, and we have the vintage roller as well. And here is an example of a card. So I cut it and just used the background like that, and made a slider for inside, and then you can write your message, punched a hole, have a ribbon here. So I'm just giving you a quick and easy ideas of what to do with your DSP. So I hope you'll give this a try. And you can also visit JennyDayStamps.stampinup.net for any of these items you need to purchase to make these cards, or just get some really good ideas for your card classes and save a little bit of money. So happy stamping!